Yeah, Hare Krishna, Aradhya Mataji. Whenever you're ready, you can start, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Um, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Um, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. We are reading from Canto 7, Chapter 4, Hiranyakashipu terrorizes the universe. Text 13 to 23. Text 13. O my dear king, Hiranyakashipu was always drunk on strong-smelling wines and liquors, and therefore his coppery eyes were always rolling. Nonetheless, because he had powerfully executed great austerities in mystic yoga, although he was abominable, all but the three principal demigods, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu, personally worshipped him to please him by bringing him various presentations with their own hands. Text 14. O Maharaj Yudhishthira, descendant of Pandu, by dint of his personal power, Hiranyakashipu, being situated on the throne of King Indra, controlled the inhabitants of all the other planets. The two Gandharvas, Vishwavasu and Tumburu, I myself and Vidyadharas, Apsaras and sages all offered prayers to him again and again just to glorify him. Text 15. Being worshipped by sacrifices offered with great gifts by those who strictly followed the principles of Varna and Ashrama, Hiranyakashipu, instead of offering shares of the oblations to the demigods, accepted them himself. Text 16. As if in fear of Hiranyakashipu, the planet Earth, which consists of 7 islands, delivered food grains without being plowed. Thus it resembled cows like the Surabhi of the spiritual world or the Kamaduga of heaven. The earth yielded sufficient food grains, the cows supplied abundant milk, and other space was beautifully decorated with wonderful phenomena. Text 17. By the flowing of their waves, the various oceans of the universe, along with their tributaries, the rivers, which are compared to their wives, supplied various kinds of gems and jewels for Hiranyakashipu's use. These oceans were the oceans of salt water, sugarcane juice, wine, clarified butter, milk, yogurt, and sweet water. Text 18. The valleys between the mountains became fields of pleasure for Hiranyakashipu, by whose influence all the trees and plants produced fruits and flowers profusely in all seasons. The qualities of pouring water, drying and burning, which are all qualities of the three departmental heads of the universe, namely Indra, Vayu, and Agni, were all directed by Hiranyakashipu alone, without assistance from the demigods. Text 19. In spite of achieving the power to control in all directions and in spite of enjoying all types of dear sense gratification as much as possible, Hiranyakashipu was dissatisfied because, instead of controlling his senses, he remained their servant. Text 20. Hiranyakashipu thus passed a long time, being very much proud of his opulences and transgressing the laws and regulations mentioned in the authoritative sastras. He was therefore subjected to a curse by the 4 Kumaras, who were great Brahmanas. Text 21. Everyone, included the rulers of the various planets, was extremely distressed because of the severe punishment inflicted upon them by Hiranyakashipu. Fearful and disturbed, unable to find any other shelter, they at last surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. Text 22 to 23. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto that direction where the Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated, where those purified souls in the renounced order of life, the great saintly persons, go, and from which, having gone, they never return. Without sleep, fully controlling their minds, and living on only their breath, the predominating deities of the various planets began worshipping Rishikesha with this meditation. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Sri Krishna Prabhu, when you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Sundaran Prabhu. Thank you, Aradhya Mataji, for reading translation today. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Sikshashramekam Purusha Puranam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sariradari Kripambadattamaham Prapadye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langete girum yatkrupa tamaham vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we are seeing this section where Hiranyakashipu, after his extreme austerities, he obtained the darshan of Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma was extremely pleased with his austerities, and he was personally saying that all of these benedictions that you are asking is very difficult to obtain, but since I'm pleased with your austerities, I'm giving all of them to you. So Hiranyakashipu, he did austerities which are not possible for any human being to perform. So he was standing on a single toe and then raised arms and focusing on the Lord Brahma's, chanting Lord Brahma's invocation mantras and calling him. So he was extremely austere, and his body is almost perished by ant hill. And by the mercy of Lord Brahmaji, he again restored his body with a golden effulgence. So it just says here. So, I mean, austerities always have power in this material world. We can understand that when Lord Brahma started his journey, he was doing austerities for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu. But in this case, Hiranyakashipu was doing austerities for his own selfish tendencies. So he wanted to control, he wanted to have power so he can control the three worlds. And he can take revenge on Vishnu, who killed his brother Hiranyaksha. So in this case, um, his aspect of um, austerities, his goal of these austerities is to have immense power. So anyway, he had that extremely what is it? That Dridhavrata, like the strong confidence or a strong faith in austerities, the power of austerities. So he was able to please Lord Brahma, and he was able to get the benediction. So now Narada Muni is reciting about the whole pastime because he wanted Yudhishthira Maharaj to understand how come there is enmity between father and son. How is that possible? So now, because of that question, he's reciting this whole pastime now. So now, after obtaining this power, Hiranyakashipu started capturing this entire upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. So in this 14 planetary systems, 14 planets, some are considered upper planets, some are considered middle planets, and some are considered lower planets. So we generally know the seven planets on the higher side and seven on the lower side, right? So Bhu, Bhuvar, Mahar, Tapas, Satya, Bhu, Bhuvar, Swarga, Mahar, Tapas, Jana, Satyaloka. So Natala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Rasatala, Patala, Mahatala, Patala. So there are seven lower and seven higher. So it is said that um, all three meaning the entire, except the three deities, except Lord Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu, everyone else is in the service of Hiranyakashipu. So meaning he's had complete control over the demigods. So starting from verse number 3, Narada Muni is elaborating how Hiranyakashipu is terrifying the demigods and keeping them in extremely miserable condition. So we all know demigods, they live in very great opulence in Indra Bhavana. So it was mentioned in the previous verses that how Hiranyakashipu captured the palace of Indra in Nandana garden, and he was also taking charge of the full palace. So basically, Indra is basically an order carrier of Hiranyakashipu. So Indra has had no powers. He was just carrying the orders of Hiranyakashipu and basically in his service. So the whole Indra Nandana garden was enjoyed by Hiranyakashipu. In the verse number 13, we can see that Hiranyakashipu uh, started intoxicating himself. He's already intoxicated by this power. So now his body is being intoxicated by these Varuni liquors that are extremely flavored and available in the demigod planetary systems. And it was mentioned that Mattam Maduna Urugandhina. So it has a strong smell and it intoxicated him. And Tamra Aksham. So his eyes were rolling. His eyes were rolling like a copper. Tamra Aksham. Asesha Dishnapa. So all of these powerful demigods they were extremely, because of his great austerities in mystic yoga, although he was abominable, still he is controlling all of the demigods, except Lord Brahman, Shiva, and Vishnu. So they all personally worshipped him to please him, to bringing him various presentations. So we can understand it's not only out of fear they are running away, they are just being fully controlled, they are worshipping Hiranyakashipu. And in fact, anytime somebody is intoxicated with power, they like others to worship them, so that they feel it just satisfies their ego. So this is exactly opposite of the living entity's constitutional position. But because of the madness, because of the power that they feel, it is giving them happiness. We can see at the end the Hiranyakashipu was not satisfied even with all this power. So indirectly, he's trying to make himself happy by all this worship and reverence and worship that he is getting from all this subordinates, demigods. Um, so here Madhvacharya says that there are three kinds of demigods. Just like there is Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, so there are Adityas who are the lineage of Brahmaji, and Vasus, lineage of Vishnu, and then Rudras, the lineage of Shiva. So there are three kinds, and all the other demigods like Maruts and Sadhyas, they are below them. So all these three kinds of demigods are basically serving Hiranyakashipu. So they are called Tripishtapa. So there is a terminology they use. So So, and then now Maharaj, this Maharaj is listening. So Narada Muni says that um, just by dint of his power, Hiranyakashipu was ruling this kingdom of Indra. So this Svargaloka. And so the Gandharvas, specifically two names were mentioned, Visvavashu and Tumburu. And Narada Muni says, I myself and Vidyadharas, they're all offered prayers to him again. So Narada Muni is saying, I was also offering prayers to Hiranyakashipu. So in this case, Prabhupada makes a comment here. So when Asuras become so powerful, they can even engage Narada Muni in their other devotees in their service. Regardless, they don't become their subordinate. So it's just the time factor that the demons will become powerful. Sometimes it may look like devotees are serving them, but it's just the time factor that is functioning like that. But they are never subordinate to any asuras. So it's a very important point that we have to understand. So in this material world also, when devotees are functioning, they function according to time, place, and circumstances. They don't provoke any agitation from any extreme demoniac people. Otherwise, our preaching activities will get impacted. So they just go with the flow, and then if there is any service to be rendered, they humbly do the service. So similarly, Nardamani is assisting with the Lord's Leela here, and he is also engaged in service of Hiranyakashipu at that particular time. So now Hiranyakashipu is being intoxicated by all these offerings. There are a lot of gifts that he is receiving from these demigods, and he's being worshipped. So, but he's being so selfish, he doesn't share any of these with any demigods. So generally we understand the demigods also accept the oblations when sacrifices happens. They take the part of the share. But it is so said here that all of the share is being taken Hiranyakashipu by Hiranyakashipu. He is not giving any of them to demigods. So he's perfectly aligning himself in that asuric tendency. So and then now it is mentioned that there is one verse in Srimad Bhagavatam that in that verse it says that the whole creation is working just with the fear of the Lord. Because of the fear of the Lord, the sun is rising, the moon is rising, the planets are rotating, the seasons are changing, the rivers are flowing, the ocean is abiding by its limits. So everything that is happening in the entire universe is just happening, uh, according to the time, place, and circumstances, just by the fear of the Lord. So similarly, here in this verse, it is mentioned that in this three worlds, upper, lower, and middle, in one universe, because of the fear of Hiranyakashipu, everything was in place, like the food grains being cultivated nicely, the islands, the cows are producing nice milk, and then the space is decorated with beautiful grains, and then the paraphernalia like the pearls and the jewels. So it's all mentioned here that it is because of fear of Hiranyakashipu. So we can understand that the demigods are functioning under the influence of power given by Lord Vishnu. And because of demigods are actually controlled by Hiranyakashipu, so indirectly it's saying that. So he is taken over the entire uh, functioning of this universe by influencing, controlling the demigods. So it even said that the rivers are considered to be the allegory here given was the rivers are compared to wives of oceans. So the ocean, if ocean is an husband, rivers are compared to wives, and then all this jewels, gems, and jewels, the various kinds of jewels, they were given as gifts to Hiranyakashipu's use. And then specifically, it is mentioned uh, Dhadi Shira Amruta Udaka. So, and then Shadra Grata Sidhu and Shara. So, these are the oceans: salt, Sidhu, wine, ocean of clarified butter, sugarcane juice, and then Dhadi, like the yogurt, Shira milk, Amruta, the sweet nectarian ocean, and the water, sweet water. So these are the different kinds of oceans mentioned here, specifically in this three planetary systems. Like we understand that in the Mandrachal mountain, below the mountain, there is a ocean of milk. So in Shir also there is an ocean of milk. So that is mentioned Srimad Bhagavatam. So like this in different planetary systems, different locations, there are different oceans. So we have experience of the saltwater ocean. So when we go and taste the ocean water, it's salty. Similarly, the ocean, there are oceans made of milk, sugarcane juice, wine, yogurt. So these are the experience of demigods. So now Prabhupada specifically makes this point that the modern scientists they try to take this rockets to other planetary systems and they see only dust. Like whenever they go to moon, they just bring some dust. But this is the real experience of those who are really space traveling. Like Hiranyakashipu in this case is space traveling. He's going to different planets. So he is able to experience, the demigods are able to experience all these different varieties of oceans. So, so now because of imperfect, uh, the modern living entities, scientists, they say that their imperfect sensual experience that this planet, only Earth planet has people. There is nobody, nowhere else. There is people. They have all this conceptions, but Prabhupada is negating those things. So now the elaborating on that, the whole how the Earth's material world is flourishing because of producing everything according to time and circumstances because of fear of Hiranyakashipu. It is mentioned that the valleys, all these valleys, like one of the valleys, the Mandrachal mountain valley where there is milk ocean. So all of these valleys, Hiranyakashipu is using them for excursions and pleasure. So by it is mentioned that by his influence, according to what he wants for his own pleasure, he's trying to make the demigods work according to that. So, so here there are three departments under the demigods. So Indra, we all know Indra takes care of that. Varuna, like the water, and then Vayu is air, and Agni is fire. We're all being directed by Hiranyakashipu for his own purpose of his own pleasure. So, meaning he's not worried about the whole maintenance of the creation. So, the extremely selfish tendency is being described here. So now in the verse number 19, in spite of all this power, imagine the power which you can control the entire universe. With all this power, now it is mentioned that Narada Muni is saying that Hiranyakashipu is not satisfied. So he was dissatisfied. So the word used here is Bunjanaha. So he was enjoying, but Atruptyat. So Atruptyat. So Truptyat means satisfied. Atruptyat. Ajita Indriyaha. So Ajita Indriyaha. So being unable to control the senses. So this is the point that we have to understand very deeply. So when we have control everything, if the senses are not under our control, like there is a prayer that says that I am now very old, I have served you all my life, just, at this old age, I want relief. Can you please give me relief, my senses? So the devotees, one of the great devotee Mahajan, he prays like this. So because the senses keeps dictating that do that, do this, give me this. So one who has not controlled his senses, even though he has controlled his external world, very powerful, still he is not satisfied. Atruptyat. So this is an example of asuric life. So Prabhupada quotes that. So atheists, they may advance materially very powerful, they become very powerful, but because they are controlled by their senses, so their senses are dictating what to do, they never get this trupti, satisfaction. So, um, so as far as the material sense gratification, they will go on increasing. There is no limit. They'll go on increasing every day and creating modern inventions. But at the end of the day, if there is no satisfaction, without peace, there is no sukham, there is no happiness. They're all interconnected, right? So, so now Narada Muni is pointing out this fact, and but Hiranyakashipu was forgetting this fact. He passed a long time very proud of his opulences, and he almost transgressed all of the laws mentioned in the authoritative shastras. So, so now Prabhupada quotes several verses from Bhagavad Gita. So we have to live our life according to Shastric injunctions. So if we break the Shastric injunctions, there can never be any perfection nor happiness, nor we can achieve the supreme destination. So yashastra vidyam yustrijya vartate kamakara karata Nasasiddhim apnoti na sukham na param gatim. So you won't get siddhim perfection, you won't get sukham happiness, you won't get param gatim the supreme destination. So this if we disregard the scriptural injunctions. So in this case, Hiranyakashipu is disregarding all of them, and therefore he is not satisfied, he is not happy, and he is not, of course, achieving any supreme destination. So, so we always have to cross check if our activities are aligned with Shastra. And then finally, in the last two verses, it said that all of the rulers in the various planets now they become extremely distressed. And they, because of this severe distress created by this situation, generally, if you work under a Asuric person, you won't feel happiness, you won't feel any satisfaction in life, and he is also inflicting more miseries, so there is no scope of happiness for any of these demigods. So now they are fearful, they are disturbed, they don't have any shelter. Now they everyone took the shelter of Sharanam Yayur Achyutam. So they are all taking the shelter of Achyuta, Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, and so now in the last 22 and 23 verse, it is said that um, um, they were offering their obeisances onto a specific direction where the Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated. So the significance here, so they're glorifying the Supreme Lord, and they are they are also using their austerities. They are sustaining their life just by breathing, and they are controlling their minds, and they are not even sleeping. And by austerities, they are worshipping the Supreme Lord Rishikesha with this meditation. So now there is a specific word used here, tasyai katayai, kasthayai. So tasyai kasthayai means in that direction where Hari is situated. So generally we know that Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma says, Ekopi yacho rachayitam jagadanda kotim yachakti jagadanda chayadadanta andantarastu paramanu chayantarastam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So Lord Vishnu is situated in every Parama Anu, and is not only present there, he is present in his full opulence, is as good as his personal form, his full opulence. But in this case, the demigod says, whichever direction Hari is situated. So the indirect significance for this word here is at that time where Hiranyakashipu was terrorizing these three planetary systems, it is said that by his influence, he is all of these places is terrorizing. The Lord's potency can never be touched in holy places. Though in the holy places, the Lord's potency is very much intact. So they were actually praying to those holy places like Vrindavana, Ayodhya, and Jagannath Puri, those holy places where Lord's potency is there. They were trying to pray in that direction so that their prayer is easily heard by Lord Vishnu. So that was the significance mentioned here. So Prabhupada even says that if one wants to quickly make spiritual advancement, then he can go to such places like Vrindavana and achieve the results of spiritual activities very quickly. So Hare Krishna. This concludes the last verse for today. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrand ki jai. Panchakalpatrubhyasya kripa sindhu bhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo.
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.